When things go well, it's all thanks to you. When they go wrong, well, that's someone else's fault or bad luck. This self-protective mechanism is the self-serving bias, and it's a powerful driver of human behavior. It's essentially this invisible force. It constantly shapes how we view ourselves, how we judge the people around us, and ultimately, how we learn, or more often than not, fail to learn from our own mistakes. So let's dive right into this explainer. The self-serving bias is a cognitive distortion. Think of it as a lens that bends reality just enough to be highly favorable to our own egos. We are so quick to internalize our successes, right? We claim them as undeniable proof of our unique skills and relentless effort. But the exact second failure strikes, suddenly we're just victims of circumstance. It was a bad economy, an unfair referee, or just plain old bad luck. That brings us to Section 1, internal versus external attributions. To really grasp how this whole thing works, we've got to look at the mechanics of how we distribute blame and credit in our day-to-day lives. Psychologists call this attribution theory, and it creates a brilliant asymmetry. On one side, we map our wins to internal factors, our skill, our tireless effort, our natural intelligence. But on the flip side, we map our losses to external factors, completely out of our control. We are basically operating with two totally different sets of accounting rules depending on whether we win or lose. The academic literature actually loves testing this concept through super relatable everyday scenarios. Take the classic AP Psychology textbook example. When a student attributes their high history grade to hours of extra study, but then turns around and blames their low chemistry grade on impossible test questions, they are exhibiting the self-serving bias perfectly. They gladly own the A, but they completely reject the C. Which leads us to Section 2, the why, protecting the ego. We know what it looks like, but we need to understand the deep-seated psychological motivations here. Why do we actively trick ourselves this way? Well, the crucial point is that this bias isn't just some random arrogance. It actually serves a powerful triad of psychological needs. First up is self-enhancement. It literally just feels good to boost our self-worth. Second is self-protection. It acts as a shield against the really heavy, uncomfortable feelings of shame or inadequacy when we mess up. And third, impression management. We want our peers to see us as competent, so by projecting this biased view, we try to control how the world perceives us. But it's not just psychological. This actually takes us right into our biology. Modern MRI brain imaging reveals something kind of incredible. This bias is essentially our cognitive default setting. Research shows that making self-serving attributions actually activates the brain's reward center. It physically feels rewarding to blame the weather instead of yourself. Meanwhile, to make a non-self-serving attribution, to actually sit down and admit a failure was your fault, a completely different part of the brain called the medial prefrontal cortex has to fire up to override that default. It requires literal, measurable neurological effort to be honest with ourselves about our failures. Section 3, real-world arenas. Let's step out of the brain scanner for a second and see exactly how this bias plays out across the different domains of our actual lives. Let's look at how this builds across 3 major arenas. In the classroom, as we just saw, it's "I'm smart" versus "the teacher hates me." Out on the sports field, athletes attribute a win to rigorous training and raw talent, for sure, but a loss? That's quickly blamed on terrible referee calls or just bad weather conditions. And in the workplace, an executive might take total credit for a profitable quarter, citing their own exceptional leadership. But when the numbers tank, suddenly it's the fault of market downturns or inadequate team members. The pattern is incredibly consistent. It's also super important to note that your baseline worldview heavily influences your susceptibility here. Psychologists refer to this as your locus of control. If you have a high internal locus of control, you generally believe you dictate your own outcomes, which makes you a bit less prone to this bias since you're used to taking responsibility. But if you have an external locus of control, believing fate, luck, or maybe your boss dictates your life, you are so much more primed to use the self-serving bias, just constantly shifting the blame outward. Moving on to Section 4, the double-edged sword, because here is where we need to look at the consequences and why this bias is a massive, massive double-edged sword. Let's break down this dual reality. In the short term, the bias acts as a highly effective emotional shield. If you fail, brushing it off as bad luck protects your self-esteem and keeps you motivated to try again tomorrow. But the long-term costs, they are severe. If you literally never admit fault, you can never identify your weaknesses. It creates a complete barrier to true personal growth,
fosters totally unrealistic optimism, and rapidly damages your workplace and personal relationships when you're just constantly deflecting blame onto your team or your partner. And just to be clear, this isn't a one-size-fits-all phenomenon. Your current state of mind and your environment alter how severely you experience this illusion. Interestingly enough, clinical depression actually reduces or even flips the bias, leading people to blame themselves for everything, while narcissistic traits heavily elevate it. Culturally, individualistic societies like the US and Canada exhibit this bias far more strongly than collectivistic cultures like Japan, where social harmony takes priority over the individual ego. And beautifully, we're actually much less likely to use this bias against our closest friends and partners. Our empathy can override our ego. Finally, Section 5, breaking the illusion. So how do we get past our own egos? Let's turn the mirror around for a second. I want to pause right here and ask you a very direct question. Think of your last major success. Maybe it was a promotion, a great grade, a personal best at the gym. When you told people about it, did you mention that maybe, just maybe, you got a little lucky? Or did you focus entirely on your hard work? Okay, now flip it. Think of your last notable failure. A missed deadline, a fender bender, a big argument with a friend. Was your very first instinct to analyze what you did wrong? Or was your immediate reaction to figure out how the situation or someone else totally set you up to fail? I want to leave you with this brilliant analogy drawn from the source material. In Germany, there are road signs placed in areas of high congestion that simply say, "You are not in traffic, you are traffic." It's a really profound reminder that we are often actively contributing to the exact same problems we are complaining about. Overcoming the self-serving bias requires the courage to realize that we are part of the traffic. By catching ourselves in the act of shifting blame, we can start to actually learn from our mistakes, rather than just clinging to the excuses we invent for them. So ask yourself, the next time you face a setback, will you look out the window or will you look in the mirror? If you're ready to cultivate a more balanced perspective, hit that like button and subscribe for tools to truly understand yourself and others.